Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US indices, and we'll be looking at the S&P and the NASDAQ. And with the S&P here, I think the first thing that we should really acknowledge is that the top of this particular structure here, which is obviously really significant, and we see the market making a new high here. And normally what we see is markets seem to, they're almost like stairs going to the upside in trends, and the same to the downside as well. So it's basically stepping up, and each old high here normally breaks through and comes back and finds support. It could be more dramatic than this. It may come back down here further and then find support up here, but normally they're just stepping up these stairs all the time. So this high here and this current price action here is also playing out in checking for support. It's also skewing the wave count as well. So I need to take the skewing of the wave count into account, but I can't let it get too far out of control. So we need to be a bit philosophical in approaching this old high here and how the market's going to settle in that. I mean, we really want that to become, this high to become support. And yeah, so there's two things over here. The other point here too, of course, if I copy this here, psychological numbers, the 2900 here being a nice whole number. So we've got this high here and the 29 here that we'll be sort of dancing around a bit with. So we want to be finding support on either of those before moving long. So we need a bit of tactics here. But besides all of that, the count to the upside, if correct, then wave 4 is in place here from wave 3 here as an A and a B and a C and a D and an E. Wave here, it doesn't count very nicely up here as wave 1 for this market. In some stocks it may count quite nicely. You can look at stocks like on the New York desk, like ADX, for example, and ADX has got quite a nice count to the upside and can be quite helpful. I think it's a ETF or something of that nature, some type of fund, but yeah, patterns. So yeah, if this is the case, we still have further to move to the upside here. Let's drill in and have a little look at this here. So we're looking from wave 2 here, wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and then I was looking for wave 3 up here. Now I suppose it's possible to count it as this wave 3, but I just can't find 5 waves between wave 2 here and wave 3 here. I can only find 5, pulling this apart on a tick chart, wave 1 here and wave 2 here, then a nice third wave up here, and the fourth wave. The problem with this is that this fourth wave is overlapping this structure at the top of wave 1 here. It's okay to happen in derivatives, in small, in small wave counts, but not in larger wave counts. It just wouldn't be acceptable. So and also Elliott also established his Elliott Wave theory based on the Dow Jones and the industrial and stocks and so on, but not with leverage in them. So these are leveraged stocks, but even the S&P would be doing pretty much the same as this as well. The main point here is that it pretty much has broken a rule here. So it brings up a warning flag, but because of the old high that we talked about, we can be a bit philosophical about it. But we would really need to see this market move up from this current low here. Now the other point here too is that from the 28 here, be it this low or this low, the move up through here, the 61.8, 50 and the 61.8% is back here. So I wouldn't turn bearish in this market unless this market found the 61.8% mark here as the resistance here. Normally I would, in terms of the trading levels from number 8 here to number 9 here, we divide that up into groups. So group 1 is 10, 20 and 30, and then the midpoint is 50, and then group 2, so 65, 72, and 80. And normally I'd turn bearish when the number 2 within group 1 here becomes the retested resistance. But look, if the market moved down, further down through here, and it would, if this 72 here became the retested resistance, then get a small position, and then also look to add when 65 becomes the resistance as well, and the target would be the 50 here for day traders in this case. Now, I've got this as wave 1 here blanked out here, which means it's alternative, and wave 2 here. So that would be taking all of this from this low here. This is a bit of a weird count here, but wave 1 here, wave 2 here, then 1 and 2 in here, and then, wave 1 and 2, 3 and 4 here, and up for 5 here. So looking at all of this as wave 1 here, coming back to wave 2 here. It's a long shot, but this is what the video is for, is to explore possibilities here. If the market became into a bearish countdown here, then I've been asked to look at a bearish count from this particular high here, and the way that I could look at that would be, just allow me to squash this up a little bit in here. So wave 3 and wave 4 here, and then looking at this here as wave 1 here, wave 2 here, and then wave 3 here with an A and a B and a C for wave 4 here, and then looking at this as a triangle ending pattern, as an ABC ending pattern for wave 5 here. So, but we would need to see a significant drop, you know, in trend from here to call something like that in here. But look, it's just always good to be exploring patterns in the future and so on. So we don't need to go there just yet with this. So I'll just bring this back into 200 here. So I'm just going to go to the hourly chart now. This move down through here can be counted as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here. So we really want to see it push up from here. And also to, you know, when a market is vibrating across a large number or a whole number like this, we always go to the next smaller degree down. In this case, it's sub-level. So sub-level 1, 2, and 3 above, group 1 is the resistance, and group 2 below here is the support. So if group 2 here becomes the resistance here, this count that I've got as 3 and 4 here will be finished at this point, and we would need to start looking at another count here. In terms of strategies, we can I mean, your indicators will be on a daily chart or 4-hour chart or whatever. You know, your CCIs and stochastics will be well, the daily chart that we looked at, would they be, let me just check here. Stochastics and CCI, they wouldn't be in buying positions yet, but if they pull back into this space here at the 50 here, then your stochastics, because it's the previous low here, long story, but yeah, so they would be, the indicators would be in here. So really we're in a rock and a hard place at this point with the indicators, so be a bit mindful in using those guys just yet. In terms of tactics though, I mean, this whole move down here could pan out into 5 waves down, but I've got it as an A and a B and a C here. So if this makes a move to the upside here, then look to go long if you get support on top of group 2 here, the 2880 here. It may not get you very far. It may be, we may end up in a larger correction and so on. So it's a bit of a high risk scenario, and if that's the case, you're also going to run into resistance in this little space here. So just be mindful of that. So I think one way to do it is, if you're trading long, is to keep the position small on the turn and allow it to play out here. There will be a lot of resistance going on here, so we would need to keep the stop out of the way for that move there. But you could let's just say that you took 2 contracts, you could sell 1 contract here, then take up a bit of heat here. We can look to move back into it over here if that's going to be the case, but we don't know that yet. I mean, certainly if we're on the 29 here, not a problem. We would be going along sure. So anything under the 29 is risk. So you really want to, the money's in the turn, the money's in the trend, there's money everywhere, and there's losses everywhere. So, you know, get it sorted. Let's have a look at the NASDAQ, because that's in more of a problem than the S&P. I mean, we looked at just for the S&P story here. I mean, we looked at when we, this is Berkshire here, we called this low in through here, and we're looking for a high to come off the top here. So this trend to the upside here is certainly not finished for this market here. And we're also looking at the banks as well. So with the banks, we also call the low in here as well. And I don't think this, I haven't pulled this apart yet, but I don't think this trend, it hasn't really made a significant high above here. I need to pull this out here and have a closer look at it through here, and I'll do that shortly. But yeah, I don't think they're finished to the upside yet. And we'll have a look at a couple of NASDAQ stocks as well. So you can see here in this case here, we were bopping along nicely. We got stopped out up here somewhere for this, so that's cool. I haven't gone short, but yeah, the problem here is that this sharp move down through here has really overlapped the top of wave 1 here. So, you know, it's very difficult to put that wave 4 there at this particular degree of structure. So I'm a little bit lost on this count here. So what I need to do is I need to wait to see what I've got here. So there is support in this little area through here, and we'll go in and have a look at this. But let's just go to the 4-hour charts. See what I've done here. So this is how I originally had it. Basically, we're looking for wave 4 to pull back, but we're looking for wave 4 to pull back in here, not here. So there's definitely a problem here, and it appears to look like impulsive to the downside, doesn't it? It's certainly possible, and you know, I wouldn't be bullish on this unless we were had support on the closest largest number, and in this instance it's the 500. I find 1 is the strongest number, then 5. So we don't have support there, so we're not going to go along. I still need to work this out here, but there's a very clear overlapping of the wave structures here. When I have a look at Google Alphabet, for example, this is the same pattern here that we've called in as a wave 3 up here, an A and a B and a C. We've had this as a D wave here and an E wave here for wave 4. So it's quite possible to count this up here in 5 waves and finishing up here in both cases. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, to have wave 5 as a top in play here. But at the same time as well, I'm not going to turn bearish here unless I'm below this box here. So if Alphabet drops below 1100 here, then I know that we're in for a larger correction here. So in that instance, the distance that we've gone above here would be pretty much, it's not really an overshoot pattern, is it? But normally you would see pretty much the distance below here. So back down into the 800 area here if this was going to swing lower from here. But I'm not going to go there yet because even when I look at Amazon here, I've been counting Amazon up. So we've got wave 1 and 2 here and wave 3 here and wave 4 here, and it also looks like it really wants to sort of come back and overlap this, but we don't have 5 waves up here finishing this yet here, so I'm expecting a bit more up. It's not to say that this is going to get a bit more, this could get more complicated here in terms of an A and a B and a C, and then back down for a C, and then up through here, and we'll have wave 4 over here. before moving up, but all I'm saying is that it does appear that there's still one wave short here of a move to the upside for this particular market. And also with the Google one here as well is that yes, I know that we can have, you know, wave 3 here of intermediate degree, wave 4 here or here, and then that would leave us with wave 5 up here. So I know that there can be a top in place for this one here. But even so, in this case here, I need to pull this apart here, but it looks like it's pretty much done. There may be one more low here, but the main point here is that if we're getting 5 waves in this structure here, when we do get it, when it is finished and we see some sort of bounce to the upside here, then this low here will become a catalyst for any short trades we do at that point. Okay, so we'll look at that when it comes here. I'm just looking at 2 of the bigger stocks here and some of their patterns as well within all of this. So yes, this one here. Let's come back to the NASDAQ on the hourly chart here. Yes, I can count this down. I can count it down as an ABC down here, even though it looks impulsive. We just have to gather more information just yet as well. I mean, if it makes another low here on this one here, then I'll know that we'll definitely have 5 waves down. But otherwise, we'll just look for a bounce here, and any bounce to the upside will meet resistance at this point here, in this space here, at the 5 area through here, and then we'll look to go either short or long from that point. Okay, so if let's just say that this is wave 1 up here and this is wave 2 here, if wave 3 pushes up here, comes back for wave 4 and gets wave 5 here, then we'll have 5 waves here. So then we just got to wait, and we just wait for the ABC correction to come into play, and then we can move in over this side over here. Okay, that's how we'll go long, that's how we'll handle it. And if we need to go short, we need to wait for this low to come in play. This may be the low here, and if it just moves up in 3 waves to the 61.8%, well then we'll be looking to short back under the 7,500 area through here. So look, because of these, I've moved down a little bit too far. It's because I moved down too far, it's thrown me out. So now I need to pick myself back up off the ground, and I need to not only work out the wave structure, but I also need to work out strategies. So I just pointed out then how we could look to handle the 7,500 area here. It hasn't tested it as the reason. The 7,500 is the most important level here at the moment, and it hasn't established it as support or resistance. It's still vibrating across it all the way back from here as well. It was resistance here, and it's never really found support yet. So we wouldn't turn bearish in this unless the group 1 here started to penetrate here. I mean, shorter in the bigger picture with the move coming down much further from this point here. There's no need to do that just yet here. We need to pretty much stay within the current trend pattern that we're in here. I'm just taking these tops here and this one here to be part of this group here. So yeah, 7,300, until that's breached, we will stay with the uptrend, even though I don't understand it just yet. So all right, sorry I'm not a huge help with all of this at the moment, but that's taking the rough with the smooth and the ups and downs within the market. But we'll find our way through this and take benefit in it in due course. Cheers.